Ciao a tutti. This is Prof Jo at Prof Jo Explains, and we have a real treat tonight. It is Kathy of Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo, who is just, if you haven't, I've been saying this all week, if you have not gone to her channel to watch her, you are just missing. I'll say missing again, missing. It's a great channel. She told me she just hit 30,000 subscribers. She's on her way to 50. She's not even going to do 40. She's going to go right to 50. So you need to go on her channel and hit subscribe and help her get there. She's also a knitter. She does socks. She does socks in her spare time. I can't imagine finding that I would be relaxing by knitting because, I'd end up with a couple of extra stitches a row. And by the time I was done, I'd start here and go here. And it would not be relaxing, but for her, it's relaxing. Anyway, I'm going to bring her on right now. Hi, Kathy. Oh, we can't hear you. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're okay. We were going to do a Canaro and the Adelson because Charlie's Appeal is next week. But Kathy's been watching.
Next week?
It's on
I didn't realize Charlie's Appeal was next week.
It's February 3rd. Yeah, it's coming right up.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're nothing but topical here.
Amazing.
She's been watching the Banfield trial, and they had quite the occurrence today. We got notice about it as we were watching Canaro. So I'm going to let her start by telling that story because it's just great.
Oh, my gosh. So Brendan Banfield is on the stand spewing his lies, telling all this nonsense. And reportedly, allegedly, his former coworker was like, wait, that's not what happened. According to Brendan Banfield, the day of the crime, he had a very important meeting at work and he was going to go to work and he was going to give this big presentation and it was going to transform his career and he might get a big promotion. Only little problem, that was a total lie. And the supervisor, the main supervisor, the big bossy boss, was out of the country the day this crime took place. The substitute supervisor happened to be watching the stream and was like, no. I was on another undercover operation in Baltimore. I was not even going to be in the office that day. What's more, even if he had a big meeting that day, he would have had to wear a suit. We know from body cam footage that Brendan Banfield on the day of this crime was wearing jeans and a windbreaker and sneakers. And so T, whatever his name is, T. Patrick Smith, I think was the name, because everybody was like, oh, T has all the tea, called the district attorney last night and was like, hey, girl, hey, he's a lying liar who lies. I'm happy to show up and tell you the truth. And so this gentleman showed up out of nowhere, the last witness at the last minute. And then at the lunch break, apparently some person ran up to the courthouse and said to the prosecutor, is it too late for me to testify? And said it in front of a couple of jury members. And the prosecuting attorney was like, stop talking, made the person stop talking and like sort of escorted them away. It is unknown what that person was going to testify to. I could not love it more. Yesterday, I did a short where I was like, hey, y'all, hey, if Brendan Banfield has any neighbors, any coworkers, if you are the nosy neighbor up the street and you want to come and tell me all his personal business, please hit me up at gossiprumormail@gmail.com. I will have you on. I will put like a kitten over your face or something if you don't want attribution. People are coming out of the woodworks to talk about how terrible this guy is. Or maybe how lovely. Who knows? So that's the latest hot goss from the Brendan Banfield trial. It took place today. They just wrapped for the day a little bit ago.
They both sides ended. So you're going to go
Everybody's
into
done.
Closings now.
Closings. Mm-hmm.
Did the pool camera show you the reaction of the defense or Banfield while this happened, while this guy got on the stand?
The shame was palpable. Through all the other witnesses, he's taking notes and he's, sending Post-its to his attorney. When his supervisor got up, he just sat like this. It's like if shame was a person, you could see all the full glory of his very hardworking comb over. I feel like there's a part that's taking place here, that's trying to cover a part over there. He got that magic hair. I don't know what's going on.
Well, defense lawyers always say the best advice to a client is not to get on the stand. Now, this was an unexpected
Yes.
way to be brought down, but my God, and to end the trial with that, oh my God.
To be proven a liar. It's so funny because on direct examination, he mentioned several times how tall he was. He's like, "Well, because I'm tall, and I'm tall, and did I mention that I'm tall? Yes, I happen to be tall. Everyone loves me because I'm tall." And I was like, he's probably 5'7", right? Um, Yes, 5'7" way taller than me. But he kept talking about how tall he was and how important he was and how women wanted him and how he's so amazing and he's so wonderful. And then when the tiny little prosecutor got up and had a few words with him, he got smaller as he spoke. This thing keeps zooming in. I do not know why it does that. My camera is possessed by the devil. The prosecutor kept asking him questions, and the more questions she asked him, the more he just sort of like sank down and sank down and sank down in
And
his
this is
seat.
before the rebuttal witness.
Oh my gosh, it was
So,
glorious.
do you have a theory for why he decided to get on the stand? I mean, it's just bizarre.
I have a theory. I don't know how good a theory it is. I do have a theory. His attorney was doing a terrible job. And in case you didn't know, Brendan Banfield is smarter than you. If you don't believe me, you could just ask him. He's smarter than you. He knows more than you. He's not a lawyer, but he knows more legally law stuff than you. And so he was like, oh, no, that guy's messed it up. I am going to save the day. He did not.
Well, well, I will tell you, over at the Canero trial,
Yes, tell me everything.
we have been going. I mean, I don't want to. I described it to the Baton Death March, and I certainly don't want to minimize or denigrate the suffering that those men went through by any means. But this trial, I mean, one, the judge, who I started out thinking was a very good judge, I still think he's a good judge. But the way this trial is moving, we take breaks and then we end early every day, and
Oh
we're not.
boy.
There's no trial tomorrow. Who knows why? Uh, and so I have decided that the judge, as good as he is not keeping a pace. And since you and I live in New Jersey, I know that the town and the county are paying most of the freight on this prosecution, but I'm pretty sure our tax money is going in somewhere. And I am very resentful of the way this trial is going.
Where's
We
this
have,
cult snack? This is
yeah,
downtown
well, yeah,
Jersey?
it's in free. I think the trial's actually in Freehold. One
Okay.
of the murders were in Colts Neck. The brother who's on trial is from the adjoining county. I'm trying to remember which town it is. It's Ocean Township, I think.
Okay.
And
Okay.
part of the state's theory as to what happened here was this is the older brother by 2 years. He has a
Mhm.
very nice house, but it doesn't match his brother's house. His brother's house had lots of land and was really, you should see it, really a mansion.
Oh.
But Paul's house was pretty nice. He's got a swimming pool too, and he had a nice little balcony. Very nice house.
Yeah.
But it wasn't his brother's house. And
Yeah.
he was the trustee on a trust, an irrevocable trust set up by Keith for his wife and his two kids.
Okay.
And Paul and his brother Corey, who, by the way, Kathy, Paul is pointing to as the one who must have committed the murders because he didn't. Yeah, this is quite the family. Uh, the
I
trust.
wish I didn't know families like this. I know families like
I did.
this.
Well, I'm seeing more and more of them on YouTube, at least.
Ay, ay,
Uh,
ay.
so he's the trustee on this trust, and he and the other brother, the youngest brother, were the contingent beneficiaries in case the wife and two children all died.
Predeceased.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. And he was allegedly pilfering money from the trust. The trust was supposed to pay premiums on a $3 million policy, which
Right.
the brothers were the contingent beneficiaries are, and wasn't paying the premiums. And Keith found out about it relatively soon before the murders. And in fact, they had audio tapes of phone calls where Keith is saying, "Let me see, give me the password. I want to know what's going on." Uh,
Right, right, right.
yeah, he killed, well,
Yikes.
allegedly, let's say, the brother, and then he went in the house, shot the brother to death. And today we had evidence on the bullets, and there were 8 to the head area, one of which was a very close contact shot. So, my supposition is I can't imagine somebody starting close and backing up. So he had shot, and when his brother was down, went up and then did that
Oh
last
my
shot. Then he
God.
went into the house and shot, and the perpetrator shot and knifed the wife to death. And then the 8 and 11-year-old kids were knifed to death. Multiple stab wounds. And the 8-year-old, one of the stab wounds was in her eye. He also set fire to this house. The fire was so bad that they razed the house afterwards. So the house is not there anymore. And neither of the children, they were bleeding, they would have died, I think clearly, but neither of them had died before the fire started. And so they also had smoke inhalation before they died. So the crime is just awful. Then
Horrific.
the allegation is he went back to his house and he had set a fire there because he was going to claim that somebody was after both the brothers. So that's the sort of the background or of the story, and it's just horrific. And some of the evidence about the blood and maybe the 11-year-old boy had moved a little. It's just there's no, and I keep thinking murders are awful, and we see a lot of the spousal murders. You watch,
Yeah.
but to murder your brother and then your niece and nephew, I'll bet he
Nice.
had them on their knees when they were kids and played with them. It is so
Of
unbelievable to
course.
me.
Of course. Was the brother who's accused, was he like a gambler or did he have like drug debt or do they know why?
Nothing like that has come out, so I don't know.
Wow.
uh, but
That's absolutely
he
horrific.
apparently
Now
wasn't
listen,
a good
you get mad
business
at your
person.
spouse or your sibling. I'm not saying that's right, but it's more common, and so I'm sort of used to the idea of that, right? But young children?
Young children, and
Yikes.
knifing them to death. I mean, that requires being, let us say, up close and personal.
And personal. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the I thought the state did a terrific opening, and they have done
Mm,
both. They've got 2 prosecutors, very good job. I have never seen the Foundation for Expert Witnesses being laid better. They do more than they need to, uh, but
wow.
then they're methodical about it. The evidence comes in a really orderly way. Every law
Mhm.
enforcement witness, with the possible exception of today's, have been remarkable on the stand. Unflappable,
Wow.
unflappable. And, they don't get out of their lane when the defense tries to
Mhm.
move them to say something else. They've been very, very, very good. But my criticism is it's too much. I mean, we have seen
What do
pictures of the
you mean?
house. Every law enforcement witness that comes in, we hear some of the same story again. And
Oh,
then we have the public defender who really is, there she is. Let me
she
say,
looks
quite.
so New Jersey.
Yeah,
Everything
well, there you
about
should
her
hear all
looks
the Italian
Jersey
names, and there's some Spanish
Italian.
names and some Jewish, what it sounded to me to be Jewish names, yeah, and the style, it really is. And then they talk about places I know and you would know. I mean, if it weren't so horrible, it would be a lot of
Oh my
fun for that.
God.
But
She's so New Jersey.
yes,
She's so
well, you
New
should hear
Jersey.
her. I decided before the trial even started that I might have a problem with her because at the voir dire, at the start of the voir dire, she had said that she would like to do the voir dire of the individual jurors at sidebar or chambers, not in open court where there were other jurors there. But here's what she said. Every time I suggest this at a trial, the judge is very leery of doing it. But then I, explain why I think it's the right way to go. And they've always agreed with me. This is how she starts at her
Oh
style. I'm going to let you hear a little of her. And the judge, bless his
God.
heart, said to her, well, you know what? I've done a lot of trials too, and I handle it a different way. And at this trial, we're going to do it my way.
I love it.
That's how
I
so
love
I
it.
started out wondering about her and being charmed by him. But with all the delays he has either been part of or allowed to happen, I am no longer so charmed with him. I mean, this week, Monday, okay, was a snow day. Tomorrow, for what
Right?
reason we don't know, they're not having trial. He ended the day on Tuesday, I think about 3:20. Uh, we ended yesterday later than that, but not very late. Today we were done at 4:15, and the breaks, they get a morning 15 minutes that usually is 20 or
Right.
25, and afternoon 15 or 20 minutes, a lunch break that's usually 70, 75 minutes rather than 60. And then partly I'm sure because of this public defender, we have sidebars on top of sidebars that go 10, 15 minutes each sometimes. And I just think
Oh boy.
some of it may be not fully prepared to go, because some of the things I think they're talking about at sidebar, they should have handled before this trial started. Now, I may
Oh
be
my God.
unduly critical because I don't know, but it's been so. And then combined with, and I understand why the prosecutor is doing it, but it's driving the judge up the wall. They don't make objections. And this public defender will ask the same question over and over again. Even when the objection is sustained, what she was trying to do was ask the same question in virtually the same way. And the judge would say, I have just sustained it. And again, both of them have gone outside the scope of direct examination. The prosecutor has not really objected. They're objecting a little more now. But my guess was, and I think I am
Oh my
right,
God.
that the style, which is so hard, sitting watching it, can't be working with the jury either. So I'm sure the prosecutor's sitting there thinking, go ahead. This is helping me. But the other thing she does that I just don't understand, when she's doing a cross-examination, that what you're told to do in cross-examination is try to get out the information. Don't fight
Right.
with the witness. You can, in
Right.
closing, draw the inferences you want to draw. No, she
Okay.
wants them to agree with her phrasing. The witnesses have been very good. They won't do it. So then there's a tug of war. And inevitably, she ends up with them saying something that doesn't hurt her, doesn't help her side, because she's allowed them to start talking more in ways that they probably couldn't have talked about if she didn't do it. She
She
overstates her.
knew?
What?
Is she new?
No, she's the supervisor of the two, and I think she may have a position in the office that's some level of supervisory. I don't know for sure, but
Your uncle must
she,
be the mayor or something.
oh my
That's
God! So
crazy.
let me give you one quote. The other day, must have been one day last week, the prosecutor. Oh, the judge, by the way, has made his own objections, sustained them a couple of times. And he finally decided, because I kept saying to the chat, I'm sympathetic with him, but if he keeps doing this, this is going to be an appealable issue, because it's going to look like,
Sure.
right? So last week, I think it was Thursday, he said to the jury, he said, I think I better say this to you. What I say, what the lawyers say, it's not evidence. Don't pay any attention to it. You may think I
Right.
have it. And he gave a really good instruction about it to try to cover. Uh,
Good.
but here's what he said last week. Um, the prosecutor finally got up and objected to the fact that the question had been answered and asked and answered and asked and answered, answered. And the judge said, well, they have asked this question 12 times and the prosecutor didn't get up once on his feet to object. Sustained. That's what it was like.
Oh my God. This trial sounds like a hoot. How long has it been going on?
Oh, it's been going for what, a week and a half. And the state has not even yet gotten to the forensics, or the scientists are going to connect up whose blood it was, the ballistics evidence. I mean, we've gone through experts who've been very good, but boy, are we detailed. Yesterday, it took the prosecutor about 40 minutes to lay the foundation for an expert. And I thought, oh my God. Then I understood,
Oh
because
my
she
God.
objected. She objected, and there was another. It took almost an hour to get that one in. Now, this is the timeline that she did today, which we can't read well enough. It's too blurred. But she was doing a timeline with um, the lead investigator for one of the counties, because the fires were in each county, and so they had
Oh, right,
two
right,
lead
right.
investigators working together. And she,
Mhm.
she does what public defenders do: ask somebody who wasn't their job, questions that were
Right,
not their job. But now she's
right,
putting a
right.
timeline together, and I swear to you, I couldn't see how she thought this timeline was helping her side, because
Yikes.
he gave Paul, if Paul was the murderer, about 60 minutes there to do everything he had to do. So it's been just remarkable. And Amber, if you have a clip of the cross, can we let Kathy hear some of this defender? Because I don't see why she should be
recognize this area that I'm pointing to. It's the two, like the sliding glass door in the
That's
second
Keith's
floor
house.
Okay.
As
I feel
the
like I
master
know that
bedroom of the
house.
house.
I believe you are correct, yes.
Okay. And I misspoke. I meant, so there were shell casings found approximately in this area here.
No.
Can you stop that for a
Yeah.
second,
Shell
Amber?
casings were found further up to the,
Amber, yeah. What she's doing is going over all the evidence that the state just brought in. So we hear it all again. Go ahead. I won't interrupt again. I don't want you to miss her.
you're essentially looking at the southwest corner of the house. The shell casings were found to the northwest.
Can you see in the photograph where the shell casings were found?
No.
You can't see it at all?
No.
Okay. Either way, there were no 911 calls placed that night, correct?
From this residence? No.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And Jennifer Canero, her phone was never found, correct?
Correct.
And so obviously the information from it was never extracted.
Correct.
And we know that there was a lot of sifting through debris in this case. There was removal of debris and more sifting, extensive searches, and the phone was never located, correct?
It was not.
Now, obviously,
That's an
if we
answer.
had the phone, right, if we were able to do an extraction, there's a lot of information that could have been learned, right?
From the phone.
Objection, speculation.
I'll rephrase the question.
Yeah, let's, please.
We know generally a phone extraction contains a lot of information about the phone, correct? Just generally.
It generally contains information.
Right.
I don't know.
We heard testimony. It can contain text messages and calls and internet searches and applications and when it's in use and things of that nature, right?
Potentially, if it's able to be extracted, yes.
Right. If there's a successful extraction, there's categories of information that could be learned, right?
Potentially, yes.
Okay. And without the phone, you obviously can't do that, right?
No.
But what you can do is you can subpoena or get a warrant or something for phone records, correct?
We could, yes.
And phone records do not provide as much information as an extraction would, right?
Not even close.
Not even close, okay. But what it does tell us, right, is more basic information, like when calls are placed, when calls are received, when text messages are sent, and when text messages are received, correct?
It does, yes.
Like it doesn't give you, it might not give you the content, but it'll give you this basic timeline of information,
If
right?
they're using, if those messages are using self connection, yes, versus data connection.
Okay, and there's also applications that wouldn't register in a phone record, correct?
Correct.
For example, if you're using WhatsApp, right? That's not going to show up in your Verizon, T-Mobile, or AT&T phone records,
Now, how
correct?
does
Correct.
that help her?
So my only point is that phone records contain records of when a text message, normal text messages are sent and received, as well as phone calls, correct?
Yes,
But also, you can obtain cell site information, correct?
yes,
And what that means is that if the phone is being used or not necessarily actively used, but if it's receiving information, if there's data, like if a text message is received or a phone call is received, that can bounce off of a cell tower, correct?
if the phone is powered on and in proper working order, you can get cell tower information.
Okay, right. Let's agree that the phone would have to be on,
Yeah.
right? And if the phone is on, phone records can be helpful because they can tell us the general vicinity of where the phone is, correct?
It gives you cell tower information.
It doesn't tell you the exact location of the phone, right? But if a phone, it can tell you whether a phone is perhaps in a totally different town or a few towns over, correct?
If it's hitting off whatever tower it's hitting off, it would tell you where that tower is. Yes.
Right, like generally speaking.
Yes.
It's like there's like a circle or a U around the area, right? Something to that
Are you
effect.
a real lawyer?
And
This
so
is
in
her
this
best.
case though, phone records for Jennifer Canero's phone were never obtained, correct?
They were not.
So we don't know whether the phone was on or off, right?
As I sit here, no,
And we don't know whether the phone traveled anywhere, correct?
I don't know.
Can't be real.
That was pretty good from her in repeating and repeating and repeating. But just imagine what it's been like. You hear the entire process, you hear the prosecution case reviewed. Today, before she asked this officer anything, she went over all the law enforcement people that were on this case, either at one house or the other. So we stayed and listened to all, and it had nothing to do with anything that she did. Multiply that by the number of times she does it. It's quite I won't say.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, once a trial gets streamed, right, for better or worse, all of your business is out there. So if you're an amazing attorney, people can go, wow, the county or the state or the district or whatever it is, they have this amazing person down there. But this lady, that's so embarrassing. You know, the people who don't like her at work are like, see, finally, the whole internet is looking at her like, look at this crazy heifer. Oh my gosh.
Now, I will say she's pointing, as far as I know the case, she's pointing at the right things. She's making the right arguments, but she does it in a way that,
Painfully.
not effective. And as I say,
Painfully.
at least twice, if not three times that I can think of, her cross-examination has elicited a comment from the witness that helped the state. At least twice, maybe three times. So
In Brendan Banfield's case, his entire defense has bolstered the case of the Commonwealth. Like, the Commonwealth had a fairly thin case, but then he got up, his attorney got up, who was also a joke, and is put on this case that I'm like, oh, the prosecution couldn't even have brought in this information, and now you've brought in this information. Because at one point, the defense attorney says to this police guy, or like a former police guy, well, I mean, what information do you have against my client, or something like that? And the guy just sort of like rattling off the like,
I
the
watched this
Commonwealth
opening.
not on their best day could not have gotten all that information in. And this cop was like, yeah, well, we know that Christine Banfield did not make these internet searches because she never made a search like that before. She has no history of it. We looked at the last 15 years of her search history. Anytime her husband was out of the house, these searches never took place. Like, all of this information that never would have come in is now before the jury. And the jury's like, oh, really? Tell me more, sir.
I
Crazy.
watched the openings, and I'm sorry I didn't watch the trial now because I liked the defense lawyer in the opening. I liked the way he did it. It was very short. I thought his
Yes.
style was very sort of soothing,
Yes.
not confrontational, not combative. Well, I'm sorry that it
Yes.
was for him. It was style and and the substance was off. She at least, although as I say, she went too far. I mean, she really honestly, she wanted you to not only agree with what she was saying, but she wanted the witness to use the word she was using.
Oh
And when
my
she couldn't,
goodness.
the last tug of war I remember it was a witness who had heard the shots fired, and
Mhm.
he had called into 911. And she had the police report, and she said, so this was the time. And then 1 minute later you called, and he said, well, I wasn't looking at the clock. It was, was around. And she said, no, 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 no. In the police report, it says 1 minute. And he says, well, I didn't say, I said a minute. A minute can be 2, 3, 5.
Right,
She
right,
went
right.
back and forth with him on that. Unbelievable. And then
Oh my God. Don't you just love
today when
people
she's
who
doing,
have to be right?
I know. Today, when she's doing the timeline, she puts in that call was made 1 minute after, which didn't reflect the testimony. So it's
I'm
been
sure she's a delight in her personal life. Just a delight. Yikes.
yeah. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
It sounds like you're having fun over there, though.
Well, no, because these moments of enjoyment are coming through interminable times when you keep saying, why isn't this moving? Why isn't this moving?
Oh, wow. When do
So,
you expect it to wrap? When is the case going to be done,
well,
do
the
you
judge
think?
said today that he assured the jury that they were going to meet on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. And at that
Okay.
point, he would be able to tell them. This trial should not have taken, we have lost, I would say, of a 5-day week, assuming we had a 5-day week. If you went 8:30 to 5, we've spent at
Right.
least a day and a half that we didn't need to spend. We should be so much farther ahead with this trial. So
That
they're
would
saying
drive me
3 more
crazy.
days. I don't think that this defendant will get on the stand, and maybe with what happened at the other trial today, if he had any idea he wanted to get on the stand, it's not going to happen. But
It's like, maybe not. Maybe
yeah.
not. They had said initially that the Banfield trial would last like 4 to 6 weeks or something. And the state wrapped up after like 3 days. I was like, oh. And then the defense was like, we have 3 witnesses. So far, they've put on 9 witnesses. Each witness, but a lot of it, you mentioned that the defense attorney was really good in opening, and I agree. He was clean, he was succinct, he stood up there, he didn't shout, he didn't yell, he just was like, I have this question and I have that question. And I was like, oh, this is really quite lovely. I think he falls down in that he's clearly used to having he used to be a prosecutor. So he's used to having sort of a whole office behind him. So I'm sure there was a person who numbered the exhibits and who made sure he had all the whatever, sort of all the background players were there. And now he's clearly a one-man band or maybe a two-person band, and who all the paralegals and assistants and the whatever are not there. So the facts that he's trying to elicit eventually get there, but the way in which he does it is so disjointed. Like, he had one police officer on and he says to the police officer, you made this report, you extracted all the data from the phone and you made this report. And the police officer says yes. And he says, okay, thank you. And he excuses the police officer. He forgot to move the report into evidence. So then when he had this other guy come, the expert come to break down and explain what the report said, the Commonwealth was like, that's not in evidence. He's like, oh, wait, I messed up. I gotta go get the guy. Can we, Your Honor, can I have a break? And you're like, wait, we just came back from a break. Why are we taking a break? And at one point the judge said, no. Oh God, because he just was so discombobulated. would say, let's label this for identification, but then would not move things into evidence. And he was not clear what he had labeled, what he had moved into evidence. He kept referring to things he wasn't supposed to refer to. He didn't know what number he was on. He would ask the same question 4 and 5
Oh, well,
times.
no, we got you
And
beat on that one. No. We're up to 12, 14 times. You cannot
my
challenge us on the asked and answer, please. No.
it
Don't
just
complain
this
about
guy kept
something else.
right. He kept a specialist, like an investigator, on the stand for 6 hours and asking granular details when basically he could have said, oh, the phone was not in the house on Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And the expert says, yes, the phone was not in the house at Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And he would say, so did somebody extract the report? Yes, somebody extracted the report. Did the report include the phone? Yes, the report included the phone. Did the report include the phone on Tuesday? Yes. Did the report include the phone on Tuesday at 3 o'clock? For every question. And then he would say, the phone was at, these coordinates and the GPS map. Wait, did you extract the phone? And I was like,
Yeah.
for a whole day and a half.
We hear
That's what
that
he
too.
did.
But ours fights when she doesn't get quite the answer she wants on top of that.
Crazy making.
I can't tell you how much time with the cameras. Did they do a check of the cameras in this area? And are you sure they did the check? And did you look at this camera? And why didn't you go over here and look at this camera? Well, you heard her on the phone. That was just a snippet. They didn't find
Oh
the
my
phone.
God.
Did you hear how much time she spent about what would be on the phone if they had the phone, which they agree they don't have? And that wasn't the only time she referred to it.
Oh my God.
It's really been something.
You have to wonder, in a case like this, do these people not have somebody in their life that says, honey, let's revisit. How about we sit down and we talk about the fact that you are out here looking crazy? You got the office looking bad. You got the state looking bad. You got your mom and daddy looking bad. Like, this is a ridiculous situation. Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
I don't know.
Eventually, this case will end. What's next for you?
Well, I think I want to do Richens and do the trial
Yes.
commentary. Are you going to do Richens? I mean,
Yes.
yeah,
I've been waiting for her for so
yeah,
long.
yeah. But
I'm so excited.
I'm going to take a break on the 3rd to do Charlie's appeal because that really, I haven't. I was telling the chat yesterday or today. I have done trials, but I did them on a sabbatical from teaching. And
Yes, I
I
remember you
also would
mentioning.
go to the prosecutor's office every summer, and I did a couple of trials that way. But, compared to experienced trial lawyers, I mean, I'm not. But when you're on the appellate side, I have a book on appellate advocacy. I taught appellate advocacy. I taught judges appellate
Oh,
advocacy. I have done appeals. So this is really, so I do want to watch it.
wheelhouse.
And of course, I did a video on the issues in Charlie's case. So I mean, I really do want to
Mhm.
see how they do it. And then
They're
I
going
want
to
to
do
do
oral
Richens.
arguments, right?
Yeah, it's just around. They're getting 20 minutes aside.
I'm
And
so
then
excited.
Murdaugh's appeal oral argument is also coming, and I want to take a break and do that one also because I actually think that one of the claims in there, that's the court clerk and what she was doing, I
Yes,
really
yes.
think they've got a shot at a reversal in that case, and has nothing to do with whether
Really?
he's guilty or innocent. It's just, yeah.
Her behavior.
Yeah, her behavior, yeah.
Wow.
So I wanna see how that one, how they argue that, but otherwise Richens is the case.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Spencer, do you know about Aaron Spencer?
I know the name. If you mention it, I might, if you give me some
This is
details, I might recall the
I think
case.
some people in the chat do. This is another one that just this one bothers me for a different reason. Let me get
Hmm.
this. His 13-year-old daughter, apparently online. This is the defendant, the father of the 13-year-old. This is not a picture that endears me to him.
Mhm,
Because I
mhm.
don't know people who walk around with chickens or turkeys or whatever those animals are.
Those
I
are
guess they're
turkeys. Yeah.
turkeys. Yeah, I saw the one with the feather.
Yeah.
And he found out about it. I think the daughter finally told him that she had been SA'd by the 67-year-old man. She's 13. Well, the police arrest him, and he's charged with multiple counts of SA and other things. He's let out on $50,000 bond, and he goes back to the house. And the father, I don't think it was very long, goes in the bedroom. The child isn't there. She's with this guy again. So while the wife calls 911, he gets his gun and gets in the truck and chases to find them. He sees them. He's honking to make the car stop. The guy doesn't stop. He can see his daughter in the front seat. He finally rams the car to get it to stop. And then he says that the 67-year-old, I have trouble calling him a victim, is getting out of the car, couldn't tell what he had in his hand, thought it might be a gun, and he shoots him. Now, he shoots the gun off a number of times, but anyway, they charged him with second-degree murder.
That gentleman clearly needed killing. I don't know the technical term for
well,
it, but
I will tell you, you can't use that in your trial. That won't work. But self-defense or defense of others does. So
yeah, he officially needed killing.
so
Seems
anyway,
plain and simple to me.
oh, and let me tell you the rest of that story. So those are the facts here. The judge must also be, let me say, interesting. She issued gag orders on everybody a couple of months ago, I think, maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Anyway, gag orders, not just the attorneys, not just the witnesses, but the media, trying to control anything that's said about the case. And there doesn't appear to me to be anything particular that requires that you can't talk about anything. The defense appeal to the Arkansas Supreme Court. The Arkansas Supreme Court wrote a fairly lengthy opinion about the First Amendment rights of the public, the right to a public trial of the defendant, and said, you've got to make findings if you're going to do this, and you didn't. You've got to decide it's the least drastic alternative, and you didn't. We are reversing you. And then said, and we understand that there may be another issue coming up about closing the courtroom, and we would like to advise the judge to be very cautious about this because of the rights involved. Okay.
Right.
On the closing the courtroom, decides that she's only going to have 60 people in this courtroom, and that includes the media, family members. She's not going to have an overflow room. They appeal again. And this time they not only appeal the essentially closing, but they want her removed from the case.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court just decided last week. They vacated the order to close the courtroom that way, and they removed her from the case. And so a senior judge has just been appointed, but that just doesn't happen. That's how remarkable the other part of the story is. So
that's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's
And the
so
trial's been
crazy.
delayed.
I had heard bits and pieces of that, but I heard when you first started, the name didn't ring a bell to me, but the circumstances certainly did. Because I was like, oh, well, I could help that right on out. Let me just get my gun. I am a peace-loving person. I am a delicate flower, but that Mama Luke needed killing. I'm just saying. YouTube's
By the
probably
way,
gonna strike
Mama
this whole
Luke
video.
is kind of New Jersey talk.
Who was I talking to the other day? Oh, recovery addict Scott, who is from he lives in like North or South Carolina. But he's a very, very nice LDS man who would never in a million years say anything bad about anybody. He's like the nicest human. And so I called somebody a Mama Luke, and he's like, well, I have to check and see what that means. I was like, no, it's like a schmendrick, like an idiot. And he was just like, okay, Kathy, but I'm going to check. I'm like, they don't say Mama Luke out west? Apparently not.
Apparently not. So
I thought everybody knew Mama Luke, but I'm excited about the Kevin Ellis case because it's such a slam dunk case. They're referred to as the Utah Adelsons. This is the family where the mother-in-law plots the unfortunate unaliving of her son-in-law and gets her son to do the wet works,
Oh,
and
gee.
then went on Google and Googled when was Donna Adelson arrested. Ma'am. Ma'am.
Do you think Donald Adelson did a good job of this is the guide you're going to use? Does she not know that Donna Adelson's sitting in prison right now, and so is her son?
At the time, in her defense, at the time that she Googled it, Donna had not yet been convicted. But ma'am, if your idol, the person you're looking up to, has been arrested, that's not the person that you kind of want to be following after. I was like, wait, what? Oh, and much like Donna, she accidentally recorded herself in a semi-confession. I was like, oh. She's following after her namesake. Apparently the children had an iPad, and the iPad had something where you could like press record or press play. Something on this iPad got pressed, and they didn't know it was recording.
It
So
does
it
that.
records for like a whole hour. And at the end of the hour, they say something along the lines of like, oh, we got to go get we got to go get the rental car for that fake whatever we're going to do. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And the defense attorney stood up in court and said, my client, Kevin Ellis, was duped by his mother and his sister. It's terrible. Everybody knows he's a loser and he has mental problems and he's dumb and he's this and he's that. And I was like, sir, your client can hear you. He's right there, sir. He's right there.
Is this
But
the
in
case?
the evidence,
Is
when
this the case
the night,
Go ahead.
say it again.
I was just going. You finish. I have a question about it, but you finish up. Sorry.
So the night of the crime, they lure this poor gentleman, Matthew Rastelli, to the house and tell him, no, the door's unlocked. Come
Yeah.
on in. Matthew Rastelli comes in. They fill the poor guy full of lead, shoot him 7 times, including 3 times in the back, and then say it's self-defense. And then they put a knife in his hand to say like, oh, he was going to stab with the knife. Low problem. Matthew Rastelli was left-handed. They put the knife in the right hand. Additionally, the knife was turned backwards. So even if he had been using a knife in his non-dominant hand, it was turned the wrong way. But wait, there's more. He was shot through the wrist. So even if he had the knife in the wrong hand and backwards, his hand would not have been able to grip the knife because there was a bullet through his wrist. But they didn't notice that when they put the knife in his hand. Now, they planned this crime. They knew that the police would come after the pupuation was all done. Kevin Ellis, I guess, to prepare himself for the crime. But if I'm going to do something big, I might take a moment. I might take some deep breaths. Mr. Ellis enjoyed some pre-event narcotics, and he left them on the nightstand in his bedroom. And because that cocaine was not going to cut itself up, he used his driver's license. So they found cocaine residue and his driver's license on his bedside table on the night that he knew the police were coming. He knew the police were on their way, and he didn't go tidy up. Something tells me he also doesn't wipe good. If you are that level of messy, you need a bidet. That's all I'm saying. Okay, go ahead. What was your question?
The days are nice anyway. You don't have to be messy.
Regardless.
I was going to just ask
Agreed.
if it was that case because I recall following it early on more closely. And his wife
Yes.
had moved, and she said, "If you come, I'll come home with you, but take this route."
Yes.
And
Yes.
yeah, I did remember, and I did remember the wrong hand. The knife was the wrong way,
Yes.
and the, I mean, it's a threefer, and he couldn't have done it anyway. Yeah,
Katie Rastelli Initially, I had it as the Katie Rastelli trial. I was saying Katie Rastelli, Katie Rastelli. Katie Rastelli took a plea. She was like, "Oh, this was my mom." And imagine if Wendy Adelson took a plea and threw her brother and her mother under the bus, because that's the situation. It was Katie's husband who got killed, and now she's like, "Oh, I feel so sad. Can I get out of jail early, though? Can I get out of jail early? I will testify against both my mother and my brother. They were both idiots. I don't know what they were thinking." But Katie Rastelli was a little loose. She was the town bicycle. Everybody was getting a ride.
Oh,
The
gee.
day after her poor husband lost his life, her Google shows her Googling, "How do you get rid of a hickey? Is 3 dates too soon to tell someone you love them?" Ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me, what do you think about the plea they gave to the au pair in
Horrible, 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 horrible. But I think the evidence on the Commonwealth side was fairly thin because Brendan Banfield had been an investigator. He knew how to set up that sort of the crime scene and stage everything and change his pattern of life. So I think their case was fairly thin. They needed Juliana. Um, I think the plea they gave her was absolute garbage. But they initially offered her a misdemeanor and she
Yeah, I
said
heard
no.
that. Yeah.
She finally sort of had that like come to Jesus moment where she was like, "Well, wait a minute." I'm hopeful that the judge at least maxes her out, because that'll give her, if the judge gives her 10 years, she's already been in prison for 2 or 3
Couple.
years.
Yeah.
So she could maybe do another 5 more and then get deported back to Brazil. But the deal, she's hoping to get time served.
Time served. I
She's
know she is.
absolutely coldblooded. Yeah, the chat is right. She's absolutely cold-blooded.
Did you
Horrible.
believe Paul's story? I didn't mean Paul. Did you believe his story that when his wife was out of town, she came on to him? And
No.
no, you didn't.
No, I suspect that there was probably a little, winkum, blinkum, and nod across the breakfast table or something between the two of them. And the wife being out of town was just the invitation that those two scumbags needed to finally come together. It's bad enough. Now, listen, I was never a nanny because I don't have that kind of patience. I could barely take care of my own kids. I had girlfriends who were nannies and au pairs, and a lot of them slept with the husbands, if you want to know the truth. A disproportionately high number of them slept with the husbands. That's why I was like, old wrinkled nannies up in here. That's all we getting. But it's not uncommon to have that situation happen. This I know because a lot of my, trollop girlfriends did it. But in that lady's bed,
Yeah.
like, just you can't go to the nanny. I mean, also they were getting together in the nanny's bed if the DNA evidence from her sheets is to be believed. But like, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And you will never, never, never convince me that Christine Banfield did not know. If her husband, she's used to her husband having you know who you married, whether you love him, whether you hate him, whether you accept it or not. That lady knows who she married. And Juliana said, they said, "Oh, why were you?" She said, "Oh, I was covering my ears and my eyes because I didn't want to hear the conversation that they were having." What was Christine Banfield saying to her husband in her final moments of life? "You dirty sucker. I knew you would do that." Like, what was she saying? Tell my daughter I love her, probably something like that. But
See.
mm-mm.
So
Terrible.
we better at least address Charlie and the appeal.
Will he be there? Will they bring him in from wherever he's at?
No, defendants are not at appeals. In the first place, he's guilty now, so he doesn't have a Sixth Amendment right to be there. And in any event, the appeal is only on the law. There's no, the defendant at trial may have to make, something might happen, and the defendant may have to make a decision about something. So there's some extra reason why he needs to be there. The appeal is all legal issues. So it's lawyers talking to judges who are lawyers, and he will not be there. He won't even be streamed in.
I was going to say, can he listen or anything?
No, not unless he can do it in the way that we can. And I don't know if he's got access in the prison to watch a stream.
Oh,
So no.
wow. So what are the main issues are the conflict between his lawyer? What are the main issues? What are they
No,
appealing
in
on?
fact, the conflict isn't in this case at all. Let me take that first. If he loses the appeal, he has a right
Mm-hmm.
to ask the Florida Supreme Court to take a look, and they take very few. I don't think they would. Then he would
Yeah.
do what's called a collateral attack. He goes back to the trial level court. Maybe in Florida, they might have some level of post-conviction relief, if not federal court. And now he's going to
Okay.
say there was an error of constitutional magnitude at the trial. The error is Daniel Rashbaum's representation. The claim is the
Right.
complaint made ineffective assistance of counsel. You can't
Okay.
do that on direct appeal because the direct appeal is the four corners of what the jury heard to decide the case. So you can't do it on
Yes.
direct appeal. It's going to be a collateral attack, which means, I've had people say, and I've seen some people in the chat say, they think that the state is waiting until after Charlie loses the appeal to go after Wendy. And I say, if that's what they're doing, it's
Wow.
not just the appeal, because if they're worried, if they're hoping that he will turn on her, he's going to wait for that collateral attack to finish. And that could be 3, 4, 5 years more before that's over.
Mm.
So that if that's the
I don't
reason,
think
we're going to be sitting here forever waiting for that prosecution. So I don't think that's
I
the
don't
case.
think the states have I don't think the state has the goods on Wendy. I don't think they have it.
Yeah. I think they've got enough. If you run the inferences the right way, and I did a video on this that I don't think we have released yet. And what I did
Ooh.
was looking at what evidence would be admissible, assuming she won't testify, because I don't think she would, and she'd be the
Yeah,
best
no.
evidence. She would be great because every juror who's heard her doesn't believe her and doesn't like her. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think if you run all the inferences the right way, you can get a conviction. And
Wow.
my view, and I felt this way when I taught this stuff, and I certainly felt this way when I was advising in the prosecutor's office, that if it's a serious major crime, and certainly this is,
Yeah.
and you've reached a point where you believe there is enough evidence to convict, but it's going to be a tough case, and you have a good faith belief that this defendant is guilty.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition, you have no realistic possibility of ever getting more evidence, then I think you have an ethical obligation to bring the prosecution. Now, they may not do it, but that's my
Really?
view of what they should be doing with her.
Mm.
His appeals are, and it's interesting, some of the things they argued at trial that are not in the appeal, but he's arguing a couple of little things. I think they're little. The fact that he couldn't get in text messages to counter
Right.
the phone messages. Yes, he's doing that.
Yeah, that's a nothing burger.
His big one, which I believe gives him some, I think it's a small possibility, but some possibility. And I think it's the reason why the appellate court decided to hear oral argument, because typically they don't, very few of these appeals get an oral argument, is the claim that the jurors in the jury room, a couple of them said they knew about the case and they thought he was guilty. And there was a claim that a couple of others heard that, and that the defense had made a motion to get rid of that veneer pool and start again. And the defense
Mm.
says that's a fundamental error, which means it's constitutional proportion. And if you have a fundamental error, it doesn't matter whether it's harmless. For most errors, you go with harmless because you don't get
Right.
a perfect trial. So even if
Right.
you prove this was a mistake, you then have to say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, absent that mistake, we can't be sure the jury would have convicted beyond a reasonable doubt. And so if there's a lot of other evidence in the case, the fact that there's an error doesn't get you anywhere. But a fundamental
Right.
error, you don't get to step 2 because
Interesting.
because it's structural. And the theory is it infects the trial in a way that you can't get at and show what impact it had. So, and
Wow.
that's that, and so I don't think there's enough because one, The defense accepted the jury. They didn't reserve.
That's yeah, that's what I was going to say.
They missed all kinds of procedural markers where they were supposed to keep, make the claim and preserve
And preserve
the
it.
claim.
Yeah.
Yeah. The defense even had peremptories at the end that Rashbaum didn't use, which is, if you're going to make an argument about the jury pool or, publicity infecting the jury, you use all those peremptories. You want to say, hey, I used everything I had and I still didn't have enough. Not the case. So I don't think he will prevail, but it's that and the claim that there was pretrial publicity. They couldn't get a, fair jury, which I did the numbers on that. There were about 80 some odd in the pool, 30 or so, maybe a little more than that. Never even heard about the case. And the other said they heard, they had no opinion. So I don't think that's going anywhere.
Tallahassee is such a transient place with kids and professors and,
University and
government.
capital.
People are moving in and out.
And it's the capital. that's And it's not tiny. It's not the biggest city in the world, but I think it's 200,000. It's got 3 universities. So
it's way bigger than the town I live in. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, but
I love this question
that gets connected to other towns.
This is true. This is true.
Okay, there
and
you
some
go.
of the towns
I'll
are
read it
literally
to
a
you.
block
You can
apart.
answer it. How's that? Do we think the Markel Addison children will be questioned when they turn 18?
No. Yeah. I don't think, questioned by whom, I guess, like questioned by the courts, by the judicial system. No, I don't, because they were so young when this happened and they weren't there. What are they going to be questioned on? What did you hear as a little kid in your house?
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think they'll be questioned. Okay,
here's another one. At what point in the appeals could Charlie possibly get a new trial? How many years? Well, if they reverse, he gets a new trial, unless you think the prosecutor is going to say, okay, we're not going to do it again. But that's the choice. Do it again or don't do it again. There isn't anything else.
Yeah, they're totally going to do it. If he gets overturned, there will absolutely be a new trial. I don't think he gets overturned. I just don't think he does.
I put the odds at about 5%.
Yeah. That's probably generous.
Because Tim, we were on SDS together, and Tim Jansen said 1%. So he's probably more accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely in the 1% camp.
Yeah. Let's see what this one is. Oh, now we have Sarah Boone's appeal attorney isn't talking to her. Is it a big deal or no? The client really doesn't need to be involved, right? She keeps trying to insert herself. Well, it's her appeal, so she's got a right. When I said that the defendant didn't have a right to be at the oral argument, that's because there's nothing they can do there. But she certainly has a right to say, I don't want you to make this argument on appeal.
Oh, boy.
How many trial lawyers did she have? And then the judge said, you're going to have to go pro se. And
7.
Then she had her come to Jesus and wrote that ad and got a lawyer. And now she's back to it with the appeal lawyer. Oh, my Lord.
He's hopeless.
Is there best way to handle prosecution? This is the trial, the Canero trial. To handle prosecution into that's not you mean the defense insinuation that Corey had money problems and did the job. The prosecutor isn't insinuating that. You type too fast. I think the best way to do it is to ignore it, at least in terms of the state doing anything, and argue in closing that this is, look at all the evidence against Paul. I mean, he's the one. I mean, they've got all kinds of evidence. A car that looked like it was the Porsche he drives. I mean, it was dark, so they didn't know. Going from one place to the other. I mean, there's all kinds of evidence against him. And if it's true that the blue jeans they found in his house have blood from the 8-year-old on it, this is game, set, match, over. So if they've got evidence like that, the best thing they can do is just don't go down the little trail that the defense wants them to go on.
Crazy.
Okay. E. Willow says she looked Charlie up in the South Dakota Department of Corrections and he doesn't come up. Anyone know why? I have no idea.
You would probably have to look him up in like because he's convicted out of Florida. So it might be that South Dakota is doing a courtesy hold for Florida. I'm guessing. I know nothing about the judicial system other than I don't want to be part of it. But it would make sense to me that he would be a Florida DOC inmate housed in South Dakota. But I don't know how that works.
Yeah, and I have no idea. I'm not even going to
Listen,
try to hazard a guess.
I had to go to Zoom court. I don't know if you heard me tell this story, but I told it on my channel. I had to go to Zoom court with my husband on a parking ticket. He parked in a handicap spot at the Garden State Plaza. Now, because I was home when we registered those cars, all of our cars are registered in my name. So this ticket comes to my house and they say, Mrs. Kathy, you parked in the handicap. I was like, obviously I didn't park in the handicap. I never go to the mall. I'm not a mall girl. My husband was there picking up something, dropping off. He's like, I just ran in for a minute. Plus, my husband has decided that he's handicapped, which is another story for another day. He's not. He's like, no, but I had that thing with my foot. Sir, that you deciding that you have a thing with your foot is not how you get handicapped. But he parked in the spot and they gave him a ticket based on the license plate and they sent it to the house. And so we had to go to Zoom court and we sat there forever and ever. And he's like, I can't believe all these other people are here. I thought it would just be us. And I was like, what are you, a crazy person? There's like all these little boxes in the Zoom. So finally, after an hour, the prosecutor shows up. I'm sorry. Okay. Da, da, da. So he calls our name and he says, Mrs. Gossip, did you park, on such and such a day? Did you park in the handicap, whatever? My husband's sitting there. And I just said, it wasn't me. It had nothing to do with me. I was home. I don't know what he was doing. He was driving my car. This has nothing to do with, I don't even know why my name is on this ticket. I'm going on and on and on and on and on. And you see everybody's muted. All the boxes are laughing. But my husband told me the boxes were laughing. I'm focused on the prosecutor. You got to take my name off this ticket. I was minding my business. Do I seem like a lady who would park in a handicap spot? I haven't had a ticket since 1998. It's him. He was driving my car. So finally, the prosecutor is like, Mr. Yes, ma'am, I heard you. Mr. Gossip, seems like you're getting in more trouble there at home than you're going to get here in court. So would you like to have this change from your wife's name to his? My poor husband was like, yes, please change it to I accept full responsibility. So he takes my husband's name and he writes all the stuff down. And then they say, well, you have to go sit in this other Zoom room and wait for the judge. And I was like, I'm supposed to be at work right now. Like at work, meaning on my computer at work. So we go in with the judge and she's like, she just says the license plate number. She doesn't say a name. And she says, such and such license plate number was parked. And so it had nothing to do with me. I was minding my business. My poor husband he's sitting there like this. Because it's the two of we're literally sitting right here. I'm sitting closest to the computer because it's my desk. And I hate it when it follows me around, this camera. My husband's sitting here like this, like, oh God. So finally the judge says, so we're going to transfer this from Mrs. Gossip's name to Mr. Gossip. Mr. Gossip, he's like, yes, I plead guilty. And she was like, sir, do you take full response? Because she got to read the whole thing. You take responsibility. But he said, yes, I plead guilty. So she says, are you under any duress today? And I'm looking at him. He says, no, I'm not under any duress at all. I would like to plead. Where do I send the check? Can I pay you online? Can I just pay you right now with my phone? He was doing everything in the world to get off that call. So we finally get off the call and he's like, are you happy now? I said, you lied to the judge. He said, what do you mean? I said, you just told that lady you were not under any duress. You were under tremendous duress in this house. I was like, take my name right off that ticket. No, ma'am. No, sir.
Well, let me see if there are any more questions because we're past an hour. And I was going to ask you one thing, but let me see if there are any more in the chat while they have you and they have a chance to ask you about any of the cases that you're looking at, and particularly the one that you've been watching every day. Okay. This is MS Bree. Is there any deal at this point that Katie McBanawa can make now since she passed in the two proffers?
Ooh. It's up to Georgia Kappelman, isn't it?
Yeah. And the judge.
And the judge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think that's going anywhere.
Yeah. She was somebody who didn't get very good lawyer advice.
Mm-mm. And she was stupid.
Well, yeah, that too. Oh, God. So tell me, in the appeal, I don't know if you'll have a chance to watch the appeal, but is there anything you'd like to hear either the defense or the state say
On Charlie's appeal,
in Charlie's? Yeah.
I want to hear everybody throw Daniel Rashbaum under the bus. I don't know that that's going to happen, but it would make me very, very, very excited. I'll just be sitting, I will be watching you watch this appeal because I'm just like, all things Adelson bring all the eyeballs to the channel.
They
So,
certainly do. So you harbor resentment against Daniel Rashbaum? Is that right?
yes, just for funsies.
What has he ever done to you, the poor man?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. I periodically will pick a fight with somebody, usually somebody online that I don't know in real life for no good reason. I am in a years long feud, a fake feud with Will Folks from Fitz News down in South Carolina, just for fun, just to entertain myself.
Well, there must be something that provokes it. I mean, you just don't pick a name out of the hat.
Yeah, no, it starts with something. They do something. I don't like their hair.
Well,
It doesn't have to be anything substantive.
watch the Canaro trial. You can find another lawyer with whom you can harbor resentment.
That bossy Jersey girl, that bossy Jersey, that defense attorney.
You
I
know,
like her.
Bossy doesn't. Does Bossy bother you? Bossy doesn't bother me.
No, I got that takeover spirit myself. I know a little something from Bossy.
Exactly. Doesn't bother
I
me.
know from Bossy. She's my friend.
Yeah. Mine isn't my friend. Mine lives within.
Same.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's see. Can they charge Banfield for perjury?
They're gonna get him on murder. What do they care about perjury?
Yeah. I mean, let's not spend. Let me say something here. Let's not spend more of our tax dollars on this.
Exactly.
These are not ours, but I feel the pain of taxpayers in other states also.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What time is Charlie's appeal? It's on the docket at 9, but on STS the other night, Joel was suggesting the afternoon, and I have not double checked, so I can't answer it. I still would stick with what the docket said. It's either 8:30 or 9 on the docket, but between now and February 3rd, someone will confirm it, and it'll be on all the announcements for the case. Hopefully it'll go first, because although courts tend to keep oral arguments into the time frame, that doesn't always happen. The lawyers have to stay within the 20 minutes allotted. But if the judges ask a lot of questions, they can extend the time. Or if the judge wants to just ask a lot of questions, the judges are not restricted to the time they give the lawyers. So when you go first, everything's copacetic. You're going to be on time. But there's at least a possibility of things, piling up and delaying later in the day. Okay.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ohio Palm Mom, for being a member. Oh, look at that. A lot of them are saying that, Kathy. They love the two of us together. I know. I love
a couple of Jersey girls
with you. Kathy and I went to lunch a while ago, and what was it, 2.5 hours? I don't know about you, but I had a great time. You must have had a great time because I didn't, I didn't have handcuffs or anything on you. You could have gotten up and left.
It was we've closed the place down. It was fabulous. We got to do it again.
Absolutely. You have my bracelet. Kathy fixed a bracelet for me.
Where is it? It's over here.
Socks, and she puts magnets in bracelets. I'm just in awe. All right.
I love fixing things. It's my favorite.
Now, do I think the state should have asked more questions? Of whom? I I don't know. I don't know what your
It's got to be
context.
Canaro.
Yeah,
It's
I
got to
know
be
it's
Canaro,
Canaro,
no?
but I don't know. I don't know what the context is of whom.
Uh,
You're asking whether the state should have asked more questions. Banfield. I didn't
oh,
watch enough of
no.
Banfield to know that's yours.
No, the state kept it nice and tight because the defense would just spin it out and spin it out and talk and talk and talk, and the prosecutor, the Commonwealth, would get up and ask three good questions and just eat that boy's lunch. That poor defense attorney would get up there and talk for hours and hours and hours, and in three questions, the Commonwealth would be like, "Bloop, done. I'm sitting down. Hey, jury, I'm not wasting none of your time. That's all him over there. Nope."
That's right. Well, you know, you can get away with three questions if all the evidence is on your side.
100%. And if the defense keeps shooting themselves in the foot, which they do in the Banfield case.
Okay. Any other questions? Because I don't want to keep Kathy. She's got a busy
It's my
schedule.
bedtime.
Yeah. So tell me
These
before.
socks are not going to Kitchener themselves. I have a lot of socks over here.
So before you go, what's coming? What do you know what you're going to be doing on your channel in the next few days? Any plans?
Over the next few days, I'm going to be wrapping up Banfield. When a criminal defendant takes the stand, those are always big days for me. The criminal defendant did part 2. He did his the end of his direct and then his cross-examination. That's probably going to be easily a 30-minute video for me in the morning. And then of course I'll do closing statements. Verdicts always get lots and lots of eyeballs and lots of attention. I love a verdict. And as soon as that case wraps, I'm going to swing back around to the Kevin Ellis trial. I covered a case overview and opening statements in Kevin Ellis while we were having snow days in the Banfield trial. The Kevin Ellis trial is going on right now where is that? That's in Utah.
Utah. I'm going to say
Um,
Utah. Yeah.
yeah, that case is going on right now out in Utah. It is still in progress. And so I don't know how soon that's going to have a verdict. But as soon as we have a verdict in Banfield, I'm going to pivot and get caught up on Kevin Ellis. And then that'll take us right into Corey Richins. And are either of us going to Crime Con? I don't want to make any promises because I promised last year and then in the end it didn't work out for me. I have a kiddo that is graduating in May and moving back home in May, and Crime Con is in Las Vegas at the end of May. I don't know that I will have capacity to do Crime Con. So we'll see.
Yeah, I have to say the same thing. I've been thinking about it, but I haven't really decided it. I don't know enough about what they do at Crime Con, and I'm essentially shy. I would get there and hide in a corner the whole
Same.
time. So I don't know.
Same. I have a big personality, like one-on-one, but like it feels very people-y and very overwhelming to me, honestly.
Yeah, me too. So, okay, we're gonna let you go. This has been just a pleasure. I can't believe that we've already been on 80 minutes. It felt like 5, maybe.
It's like when we have lunch.
I guess sure. Yes, but at least we were eating at lunch. That explains something.
This is
Okay, well,
true.
thanks so much.
This is
I
true.
hope you will come back again because this was just a great
Of
pleasure.
course.
And I know that the people in the chat all loved it. And I hope that the rest
Many,
of the
many
week and
thanks.
what you're going, rest of the week goes smoothly for you, let us say.
Yes. Here's to good health and healing and getting some sleep. I will see everybody later.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
they'll see you in the morning.
Yes, they'll see me in the morning.
So will I. I'll probably see you
Bye.
on rerun, not live, since mornings are not the best time of day for me, but I will watch.
No worries.
Okay,
I'll have
thanks a lot.
something posted before 8:30 tomorrow morning.
Oh gosh, yeah. So long. Thanks.